Hey everyone, Cahlen here, and in this video I want to share some thoughts on how to bring about what you want in your life, how to get what you want, right? So first of all, this may seem like an obvious thing, but it actually tends to be kind of the biggest hang up that people have, is you have to identify what it is that you want. And that's a problem for multiple reasons. Sometimes it can be a problem because people, they don't want to really sit down and think about it. They almost kind of just want to fly by the seat of their pants and go through their life. And in a way, if that's what they want, then that's fine, but you're not taking advantage of power that you have to bring about things by not actually sitting down and identifying what they are. And then for people who are actually happy to identify what they are and try and bring those things about, they don't know themselves well enough to actually know what they really want. Especially early in our lives, a lot of the things that we want them because we think, mostly because of what other people think, right? And that's a complicated situation. There's various reasons why we may want something because someone else would want it. And some of them are direct and some of them are kind of multi-stepped things. But still, the reason that we ultimately want it is because other people want it. So then you get down to the point where, okay, what do I really want? And then even then, there's more exploration to be had there because there's this whole story that you can go through where you say, okay, I want this, and you do the things that you need to do to bring it about, and then when it comes about, there's a lesson for you to learn once that thing is in your life, right? And if you had already known that lesson, then it probably wouldn't have been something that you had wished for, right? So that tends to be a cycle, and unfortunately, I don't know about unfortunately, it's kind of helps you develop, but that one is seems to be sort of a permanent thing, right? So you can get what you want in this world to a certain extent, but always when you get it, it's going to be different than you thought it was, right? It's not going to be exactly the thing that you were imagining, and you're not going to feel exactly the same way that you thought you were going to feel. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't go for things because we can still improve our lives. So basically, when you're ready to get to the point to really intentionally bring things, identify what you want and intentionally bring them into your life. Some good ways to do this is, well, first of all, you have to kind of realize that foundationally the universe is mind. And the intelligence which imagines things into being is really fundamental to everything, right? It's not that the universe had a big bang and we went through all this random stuff and now we have human minds which are intelligent and have imagination and can create things. That force which creates is present at the most foundational aspect of the universe. And so if you realize that, well, that means that if that creative power is inside of me and it can bring about entire complex universes, then I can use it to a certain extent. And you're right, you can. And so people, first you have to imagine what it is. This is a really key part, and imagine it in a way which is really specific. So one thing that you can do is imagine, okay, 5 years from now, if everything goes as planned, basically from where I am right now, me moving in the direction that I want to be, where will I be in 5 years? And get really specific, where will I be this time of day, this time of year? Who will I be around? What kind of place will I be in? What kind of activities will I be up to? What will be my way of making money at that time? And so you're getting specific. And now this is important. You need to bring in feelings, like emotions. Like, how are you going to feel about this person that's in your life? How are you going to feel about this job that you have, right? What are not intellectual things, right? Because that is a big part of bringing things into existence. Because what you're trying to do here is basically to tap in to a frequency of the future which in a sense already exists, and your ability to resonate with it and bring it into your being brings you closer to it in a way. And this path of you getting pulled closer to it. You can have a weak pull and there might be other things pulling you and you might not get pulled to it, but if you're really focused on it and you're taking action in your life to bring it about, even if the world is in a situation where it's kind of contrary to your goals, especially over a long period of time, you can still make progress, and the universe will actually reshape its configuration to kind of keep going along the path that it's going, but still allow for this thing that you were hoping to bring into existence to occur within inside of that. So, like, for example, like for me, I see the world basically is crashing down all around us and it's barely even started yet. Yet I have been able to create a world where, I basically wake up and do whatever I want all day, right? I don't really have anything I need to do. I have very little expenses. I live outside. It's very peaceful and joyful and all of these things, right? So anyways, identify it, do that exercise of sit down, think 5 years from now or whatever in the future, give yourself a good distance, think of specifics and feel what you feel about it, okay? So that's only the first part, and it's not even, like, if you don't do the next part, it's really not going to work, okay? So first you have to know what it is and clearly imagine it and feel it. Then identify, you're going to recognize that in order for this to come into being, the universe is going to have to conspire with you, right? You're not going to be able to put everything in the right place to make all of this happen, right? You'd have to be like superhuman, never making a mistake, and it's just like, that's not really feasible. But I do know what way do I need to live so that the universe can make this happen with me, right? If the universe is going to help you, then it can only help you if you want to have a certain career, right? You're not going to have a certain career if you imagine your career and then you sit and play video games for 5 years, right? You're not going to reach your goal. It doesn't matter how hard you imagine it. It doesn't matter how hard the universe is trying to help you. It's basically impossible because you are not doing one of the key things that needs to happen, which is all of the things that you do between now and you getting this thing. So you need to actually focus, identify what the work is that you need to do, and you need to start doing it. And when you start doing that with that clear imagination and doing all the things that you need to do, you'll see how the universe conspires with you. And it is completely obvious and cannot be doubted. When you see it for yourself happening, then this is not a theory anymore. And you're just like, oh, that is how the universe works. Well, that's pretty cool. And that's a lot of power that you have. So anyways, there of course are limits on this thing. It's not a perfect system. Like if you have a tidal wave a foot away from your face, you are very unlikely to be a powerful enough creator to be able to cause that to not wash you away, right? So, and it's not just you in this world who is creating, it's every other center of consciousness that exists which is creating, and we're all co-creating together. And so if you have goals which conflict with other people's goals, then those sort of cancel each other out. So, that's one of the really important reasons why you want to identify goals and ways to meet your goals which are in alignment with natural law, which means that you don't hurt anyone, you don't harm anyone. No one would object to what you're doing because it affects them in a direct way, right? So that's one of the most important reasons to stay in alignment with natural law, because you're basically removing conflict and you're opening up all of these doorways and windows for opportunities to come into your life and for the universe to help you. Now, if you're going to be a real douche about it, you have a lot more resistance. And the people in this world who are being douches about it, they are ancient sorcerers, basically, who are operating on knowledge which is hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years old, which you guys don't know about. And so what they do is they recognize they're going up against a barrier of natural law because they are kind of willing to hurt people to get what they want. But they also are really clear about what they want. They do the things that they need to do to make it happen, and a lot of them get together and share these same goals and all work together. So the universe does respect that to a certain degree. So, and despite the fact that they do not have natural law on their side, they do have all those other things, and you can cause the balance to go into your favor, and that's basically why the world is the way it is, because these people have been doing that really well for thousands, if not millions of years. So anyways, that's basically how you do it. Just imagine what it is, feel it, get specific, do the things that you need to do, make sure it's in alignment with natural law, and open yourself up to being amazed by how the universe actually is here rooting for you. You know, it's the universe is user friendly, even in a world like we are living in today. So anyways, I hope that's useful, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please consider sharing it. If you'd like to help me out in a more substantial way, you can learn how to do so at cahlen.org/gift. And if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, whether publicly or privately, you can learn how to do so at cahlen.org/one-on-one. Thanks again for watching.